Hello and welcome back to Battle of the Best, where we have our final little part of today, which is the, I guess, second half of eSuba versus Team Kraken, joined once again by Lorinda Games. Should we update them? Do you want to update them on the score first, Neil, or should we
Okay,
start
so the
with
score is
who
4-2 to eSuba. We're going to be joining through. These two are the qualifying teams. There were 4 qualifying event last week. eSuba won that event. They beat Team Kraken in the final 6-3. And they're on the same sort of percentage again today. Team Kraken were second place, not expected to play. Cloud9 had to drop out of the event. We don't know why, but due to reasons, I guess. And so Team Kraken took their place and get a rematch against eSuba. So who's in these teams? Well,
yeah, so we've got Jarla Faeli and Scruffy versus GameKing Swidz and Yogg. Ironically, GameKing is ex-Fade Takama, another former teammate of mine. So he's probably pretty happy to be here and wanting to compete with his former team.
Yeah, and these players are players a lot of people won't. But Faeli he's won over $12,000 career earnings. So he's well known amongst people who go regularly to European events. He goes, he beats people, he comes top 16, top 25. He's somebody you don't want to see in your part of the Swiss. He's a very powerful player. Unfortunately, one of his claims to fame is the worst patron turn ever, but we don't talk about that.
Yes.
Jarla, another player. Yeah, Gfinity, where he still did really well in that event. Jarla is probably Jarla, another player we see around DreamHacks. And Scruffy has been top 8 at Tavern Tales. He's another player that regular on the circuit. These guys are no mugs. We're just getting into the game. I'll quickly tell you a little bit about Kraken. GameKing is a world champion, Dan. He is the World International Esports Federation champion.
There you go.
He's also won he's been top 100 various times. He's already got 14 HCT in 2017. So he's almost certainly going to be in prelims. Swidz is a person who coached Fino, according to his Twitter, in Rogue, no less. He was temporarily number 1 with Rogue earlier in December. He was also number 3 on the same day with Reno Lock on another server.
Wow.
Yeah, and Yogg came top 8 Festival Lille. He's another guy who gets DreamHacks and stuff, like Valencia. And Yogg is another powerful player, and he is currently looking for a team. Maybe this is a chance for him to put himself on the marketplace, as we see him with the Hunter taking on Scruffy's Druid.
So I think the moral to the story is that just because these guys maybe don't stream very often, maybe aren't on a big famous team, it does not mean they're bad players in the slightest. These guys almost all have high GoSu rankings, and they are in it to put up a big fight and hopefully win it tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, they've already come through. That qualifying event was tough. We had Boar Control and Mitsuhide earlier today waiting in line in case one of the teams couldn't make it. So yeah, they came third in that event, losing to one of these two teams. Yeah, those sort of players were in that event. The Rat, I know, put together a team for that event, and various other players did. As we see Dan, tell us about this deck. I know you love it.
This is Yasiraj Hunter. It was kind of briefly popular during the Karazhan era. And when I say briefly, I mean, I think Raven was playing it for about a week.
And he's played every Hunter deck, so that doesn't even count.
Yeah, Raven used to play Hunter almost exclusively. The thing is, I'm surprised to see so many minions. Like, we're seeing 2 Cloaked Huntresses here, as well as Yasiraj, because I believe the former Yasiraj Hunter was something crazy, like just Barnes and Yasiraj, and that's it. Like,
yeah, the original one was that, and then I think Life Coach popularized a version that played like 1 Savannah High main, just for a little bit of consistency issues, but like that. So it wasn't too bad if you got the high main anyway. Something along those lines, I seem to remember. But yeah, like you say, surprised there's so many minions in this, but looking good if you can pull a Barnes.
I was saying earlier...
looking bad.
Well, yeah, actually, Barnes doesn't actually do as much now.
The idea being Shiraj pulls the real Shiraj, you win the game.
I was saying earlier it would be cool if we see a N'Zoth in one of these Hunter decks, but Yogg has opted for a different old god in the form of Yasiraj. I find it very unlikely that we'll see both, given how bad their synergy is together. That being said, Scruffy has no cards in his hand now, and Yogg actually has a pretty healthy looking hand, so this game could definitely go in his favor.
Yeah, the Barnes into Yasiraj combo 1-1, which then pulls itself as a 10-10 and you win. And when you first play it, you think, well, if I draw the Yasharaj, I can't win the game. But then you realise, actually, Hunter spells are pretty good. Like, you don't need... Hunter minions are pretty bad, more to the point. So when you replace with spells, you don't lose a great deal. In a format where Hunter's a bit of a meme, it's a bit difficult to get to win anything, let's go with spells. We've got that tracking to fetch stuff we need. So this game isn't over just because it's...
Yeah, you know that Misha, Huffer, and Leok happen to be 3 of Hunter's best minions, and they're a spell, not a minion.
Wait, what are Misha and Leok? Never heard of those. But yeah, I know exactly what Huffer is. So...
Always Huffer Baby Rage.
Not the most exciting set of cards, but at least they're gone now. Whichever one he chooses. Freezing Trap might come in handy later. Cat Trick might come in handy more immediately.
The 2 secrets are actually quite tempting. Cat Trick obviously is summons a decent minion, and against Druid, you're usually guaranteed to get it pretty fast. And Freezing Trap could be okay just because of the fact that Scruffy has no hand. That being said, I do agree that Cat Trick was much better, and this looks like a pretty great turn.
Yeah, this is going to work out just fine.
Unless Scruffy's next draw is Jade Behemoth or something like that.
Yeah, any Jade Spirit, Jade Behemoth, something like that. Something that works, Bran, as a Drake would be an absolute killer. Something like that. Jade Spirit. It's not catastrophic, but obviously it's not fun either.
It's not Behemoth, but we are talking a 4-4 and a 5-5. It's not what Yogg wanted to see. If this continues, he's not going to make it to turn 10 to play Yasharaj.
Yeah.
Having no idea what the secret is kind of awkward. But then do you care if your brand gets frozen?
Not really. It's just gone from looking okay to looking bad. I think Yogg made the right decision taking that chance. He's playing a high main as well. So the Yasharaj is just for a bit of value more than anything here, with making sure he has just limited good cards.
Okay, Misha's gonna allow Yogg to live a little bit longer, but it's not actually useful. Hunter's Mark will be useful at some point, but I guess the awkward part is timing it right.
Yeah, and every turn now, Scruffy is just going to have draws and attempts to win the game. Noish will win the game. Azure would probably win the game. Aya would probably win the game, because there's not enough pressure coming here to really threaten Scruffy over the short term, and he needs to do that. Otherwise, Scruffy's just going to get control of this.
Yeah. So Yogg is really banking on Scruffy picking up a useless card, maybe a Wild Growth. Wild Growth would be an okay card for Yogg now. Innovate.
There's the one. Yep.
It's useless, but it's also not going to be proccing Cat Trick anytime soon. At least if it was Wild Growth, Scruffy would want to play the card.
Yeah, so little glimmer here for Yogg. As you say, picking up a completely useless card.
He gets to curve into Savannah Highmane, which trades fine against the current board. He's still got Cat Trick up, which could be a nasty surprise for Scruffy later. Well, probably not a surprise at this stage, given that he's tested for almost everything else.
Sure everything works out. And something that triggers that Cat Trick that Scruffy has to play, like a Noish might make. But then the Noish would have to whiff, which is almost impossible. And Yogg just going to have to play down the high main. And there's just no way out really here. It's going to take 6 more damage. Well, I can't say there's no way out because there's probably weird stuff, but the Ancient is absolutely perfect. Yeah,
that blocks the Savannah Highmane pretty nicely and gives Scruffy more time to just casually pick up Aya or pick up a Jade Behemoth, as we were talking about earlier. What can Yogg pick up now? He's used up Hunter's Mark. 2 snake traps aren't going to do much. It looks like this is just game over.
Yes, just going to be GG. Plays the snake trap really quickly. Some bluff. I don't even know he's bluffing, nor does he. He concedes. It goes to 5-2 and match point for eSuba, who have already beaten Kraken once in this tournament in qualifying stages.
So Team Kraken only have their Warlock remaining. Now, I'm not going to do what I did on the last series and claim it's a Reno lock before I've actually seen the deck, but you can't blame me for thinking that.
We have also seen Warlock come back from 5-2 behind today to win 5, so it could still be the year of the Kraken.
It could be. We don't know who won the previous game. So the only thing I would say is maybe Team Kraken actually played Hunter because they didn't want to queue Warlock into this next deck.
Mm-hmm. Or they may have had to play it because they've already beaten something with it.
And we've established that we don't think that the Druid is very good against... Sorry, we don't think that Reno Lock is very good against Druid. We think Druid is very favoured. So it's not looking good for Team Kraken, it has to be said. Having to, with their Warlock, which we assume is Reno Lock, having to beat Druid and Rogue and Priest and Hunter. Maybe Rogue and Priest and Hunter won't be so hard, but this Druid game is where it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Okay,
so you've got Jarla left with the Priest, we've got Faeli left with the Rogue, and we've got Scruffy left with Druid and Hunter. That's a lot of good stuff going on there. Rogue in particular feels like it's just going to be in a great spot against the Reno deck.
Yep.
I mean, that's just Druid, right? This is assuming they get through the difficulty that we know about.
Yeah. Not the first uphill battle today, but as you said, it also wouldn't necessarily be the first time that a team has come back from this bad a score. It didn't happen with Fate to Karma. Like, Fate to Karma was ahead and they continued to win. And it didn't happen with Tempest Storm. Tempest Storm were behind and they didn't manage to make the comeback. But
Liquid are 5-2 down, and Nivea said, "Don't worry, show. We've got this." Reno's going to go through it, and Reno went through it.
This is Hearthstone, and we are talking about a team with Yogg in it.
Yeah, I mean, Yogg is just busted, guys. So if anyone's going to do it, a team with Yogg in it, with the name Kraken, I fancy that's got to be some sort of setup.
Yeah, not quite. Don't know which type of Yogg we're talking about right now. Are we talking about the person being busted, or the card, or a little bit?
I think they're both pretty busted right now. Again, Yogg, not a player that many people have heard of, but he is just a player that gets around the tour. He's fine. And these two teams are very powerful. I just want to keep stressing that because, again, I imagine that the average person watching this has heard of just one or two of these players, GameKing and Faeli, the two most famous. But you know, when you look a bit deeper, when you look into sort of Twitter and stuff like that, these guys play a lot of Hearthstone and they play it at a very high level.
Right, like it's so easy for viewers back home who watch all of the popular streamers who know about Tempo Storm for Rain and Eloise and Gara, and maybe Fate to Karma because they watch Jackie. It's so easy for them to go, "Oh, who are these guys? They can't be that good." But like I said before, just because people don't stream or don't stream very often doesn't make them any worse at Hearthstone. Maybe it just means they try really hard off stream very, very regularly.
Yeah, as I said before, Swidz in particular, he was number 3 EU with Reno in early December, at the same time as he was number 1 NA with Rogue. And in 2016, he had 3 top 100 finishers as well. So he picks up those HCT points, and I think somebody we'll see a bit more of as well.
We have quite an aggressive start from the Reno lock here, assuming we see coined out Twilight Drake next turn. It makes the Mountain Giant a little bit awkward, but I can't see a way that the Druid deals with this 4-8.
Yeah, that's what's tempting him to play the Doomsayer now, even though there's no threat on the board. Clear. If he were to play it, it means he just doesn't play anything.
I think he's tapped already, so I don't think... Yeah, so he's tapped already.
So I thought he was hovering over stuff, but it's the other player's turn. Okay, that makes far more sense.
So yeah, we're going to see a 4-8, which Scruffy just can't do anything about.
Yeah, no reason not to make it. You can always call him Mountain Giant. Come on, chat. Don't let us down.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so going with the Doomsayer this turn, guaranteeing the board is clear for the Mountain Giant, which will come down next turn.
Like protecting the coin and also getting the threats back to back. So even if the Druid deals with one of them with, say, a mulch, you just drop the other one.
Or is it...
works out nicely.
Or is it still Twilight Drake first and then coin Mountain... And then next turn Mountain Giant?
That's the eternal question, right? Depends what you think they're going to deal with
because
it with.
the following turn he could tap Mountain Giant, I believe, if he plays Twilight Drake now.
I do wonder if he'll play the Drake first, just because it's still a mulch target, and then if you the Giant afterwards, it seems like it's not quite GG, but you're in a really, really powerful...
I think you're right, yeah. Okay. Alright, so Scruffy forced into making an awkward turn. I would imagine he'll Jade Blossom here just to ramp up and get the bigger Jade. Yeah, he's going to go with that.
Yeah.
It also does allow him to play Gadget Sound Auctioneer with Living Roots and Innovate and potentially other stuff next turn. So
right, and that Jade is an investment. It's not just a dead 2/2. It's a 2/2 that makes all your other guys bigger for the rest of the game. And now, just the eternal question: when you're lucky enough to have both these in your hand, which one do you want to do first?
Okay, well,
going for the
Swidz's
throat.
opinion, it's the 8/8, and I guess what's good about this is if Scruffy does mulch it next turn, he can come back with Twilight Drake, and it's got more health than the Mountain Giant, so is essentially harder to deal with. It might deal less damage, but it's harder for Scruffy to actually kill the Drake.
Also, after that ramping up now, it's a lot better against this exact card than Twilight Drake would be. So you can just get straight through this very little effort. Whereas the Twilight Drake would sort of be a bit awkward. That being said, he hasn't got a single point of damage in it. I mean, yeah, he has a single point of damage in the full defender. But it's not the prettiest of situations to be in.
Yeah, that Ancient of War is just a little bit too big. So Thor-san looks like the play that Swidz is eyeing up.
Yeah.
Discounting Jiraxis is always nice. Means on turn 10 you can play Jiraxis, and also here we go. He can play Jiraxis and also play an Infernal. Or if he wants to, he can just play Jiraxis on turn 8. I feel as though Jiraxis is one of the cards that really does allow Reno Lock to win this matchup.
Yeah, Jiraxis plus, I mean, just look at what's getting reduced here. We're going to have Twilight Drakes and Bruisers. Over the next 2 turns, Swidz is going to be able to spew a whole lot of stats onto the board. Like you say, and then with the Jiraxis as backup, those stats, if they don't win the game, will at least clear up a whole bunch of the Druid stuff, and then Jiraxis should have a clear run to not die the turn he's played to some 15-15 nastiness. I'm not even joking about 15-15s in this deck, I don't think.
Right, well, it's definitely something that we've all seen. I think it's fair to say that. It's something that we have all seen.
Yeah, it makes me cry.
You know what else we've all seen? Crazy Gadgets and Auctioneer turns. And here we go.
Yeah, just deciding which way to go first with all this. Like, just keep ramping up his Jades. I think there's no reason to shuffle, I don't believe, here. Although with the Gadget Sand, it's more tempting. Because he has got 3 1-drops, so he very good chance of picking up one of these if he does shuffle. But you normally wouldn't. Are we spectator bugged? I think that we are.
Yeah, but I think it's just until the next card gets played. I think we're fine. Should go away, hopefully. But there we go. Okay.
Cycle through all this stuff. And
At least we don't
nowhere
have the...
Druid's generated a board.
At least there's no Druid ring on screen.
I like the Druid ring. It's really cool. There we go. Thank you, Druid.
Oh, Twisting Nether. If only Swidz managed to hit that one with Emperor Thor-san. Turn 7, Twisting Nether into turn 8. Jiraxis could have been fantastic. I guess he'll have to settle for Shadow Flame here. Which
this looks fine. 4-8 just sitting on the board. Gets the ordering right. You can make a 4-7 there if you think stupidly. And just getting the board going, like you say, setting up for maybe Nether into Jiraxis later. Jiraxis on 10 is really nice as well. If we get that far, like you pointed out, hero power with it.
It's tricky. Like, part of me thinks that Jiraxis just comes down on turn 8.
I mean, yeah, the longer you mess around, the more you're playing into the Druid's strengths. So you don't want to mess around for too long.
It depends if Swidz can construct a situation where there's no board looking at him. Like, if he can just trade into whatever Scruffy has and then play Jiraxis, then it's relatively safe, because then the following turn, he can just Hero Power Defender of Argus, and suddenly he's starting to put 6/6s on the board every turn, and it's kind of safe-ish. This isn't a bad position for Swidz to be in, honestly.
So the only thing he needs to play around a little bit here is Drake Swipe.
Shambler's a fantastic draw.
Yeah, it really is. He's going to be able to put quite a lot of stats on the board, setting up for that Jirax's turn. And by having so much stats on the board means that he can play the Jiraxis and trade into a lot of things, depending exactly what comes down. But there's going to be a lot of things because Scruffy's hand has got Baron into Baron? What game am I playing? Baron into Behemoth, which is going to make a whole bunch of Jade stuff.
Right.
And that's where the game could just swing around, because if he does that and gets nethered, then the next time you play your second Behemoth and your Jades are starting to get out of point already.
And this is the problem with any control deck trying to take on Jade Druids. Like, yeah, okay, Twisting Nether deals with a huge board, but the problem is every Jade that gets played makes future boards even bigger. So even though you destroy this incredible, like, you feel so good about this Twisting Nether here, dealing with these huge Jade Golems, it doesn't matter because they just get bigger.
Yeah, and I think we'll see Swidz try everything in his power to not play Twisting Nether here, because you need it more, as you say, later because they get bigger. He's got a fairly decent hand. There's probably a way he can do this that isn't too terrifying. Let's see what he comes up with. So if he just puts the Swampoos into the Behemoth and then just 3 to everything, that should pretty much clear the board.
Okay.
Not entirely, but enough to be not uncomfortable, I think.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well this seems good. Like, if you can clear the majority of the board while keeping your own board, the fact that you can play Second Wave Bruiser here as well is pretty huge. He might actually be able to create this position where Jiraxis is viable next turn. All he's got, like, all Scruffy's got is a 5-2.
All Scruffy's got is a 5-2 and a bunch of pandas and Jade stuff. He's got good options available to him. Drake Swipe is pretty close to being awesome, although I don't think it's quite awesome enough. And Drake Swipe Wrath costs too much mana. Let's see.
What to do?
This clears all but the 6/6.
Oh, Aya is disgusting in this position because now it's...
Right, now the Nether's no use.
I mean, it kind of is because Swidz can trade into it first with the 6/6, but you don't want to make that play. But Jiraxis is definitely unplayable here, which is a huge issue.
Yeah, Swidz has been trying so hard to set up this situation where he can drop the Jiraxis and win the game. And even with minimal hand size, Scruffy's managed to just get the cards going again. Obviously, Noise plays a part in that, but look at his hand. He can draw cards, he can make Jades, he can kill things. That's all you want from a deck. Always.
Right, absolutely, especially when these Jades are now 8/8.
Here we go. Spellbreaker helps so much, though.
Oh my goodness, it really does. So we Spellbreaker that, it gets Shadow Bolted. The issue is that 7/7, there's nothing we can do about that.
It does get Shadow Bolted. There was a play where, I mean, he knows now there's removal in hand so late in the game. There was a play where he could defend and take the free kill on the Aya. I just hope they have nothing. That would have been a disaster had he gone down that route.
Right.
But that would have been a way that if there wasn't a way of dealing with it, then he'd have had 2 taunts on the board, and then he'd be able to drop Jiraxis. That's what I'm thinking. But he may still be able to set that up with the double, the Sun Fury and the Defender in hand. He may still have that opportunity.
Oh boy, 8/8. So this Twisting Nether is... It's probably the only chance that Swidz is going to get to play Twisting Nether, right?
Yeah, it's now or never.
If Scruffy were to play that 1-mana Jade Idol and summon a Jade minion, then Twisting Nether would feel really good. But I don't see that ever happening because there's just no need to overextend into that board.
Yeah, I feel like he probably has to do it anyway. And then do you drop Tempo Sun Fury Protector? That sounds like words that I should never be saying.
Kazakus, do you know what? This is the first time I've seen Kazakus today.
Yeah, we saw him briefly earlier.
No, you're right. It's been around...
In the first game, that was today, right?
It was, yes, you're right. No, it was. But there's not been much of it.
No, there really hasn't.
As much of it as I see on Ladder every day.
Yeah, there's enough bands. I liked, again, I've mentioned this already today. I like this format. There's enough bands to keep some of the power decks in, but it also means we're not seeing Kazakus after Kazakus or patches after patches. We're seeing a bit of everything. And I'm well pleased with how this format has turned out. Well pleased. How old am I? Oh, yeah, 12. And what is this?
So, a
Same
lot of choices
problem.
here. For
Turn
Scruffy.
after turn, this same problem comes up. Yeah, a lot of choices. Do you want to Nourish or do you want to Azadrake is the main one?
I feel as though you just start with Nourish and then... so he's shuffling Jade Idol and then he's going to play Nourish.
Okay, sure. This is absolutely fine because his deck size is pretty small, somewhere in the region of sort of 13 or something like that. And so Nourish has got a very, very good chance of hitting one. It may even hit 2 or 3 of them. And if it misses, well, it's bad for you. But...
It missed, but he's got one more chance. If he can at least summon one Jade Idol. If he can't summon a Jade Idol, then Jiraxis actually does get a chance to come down. He can't do it. So,
wow.
Amazing. Amazing that he missed that 4 times.
Yeah, sometimes maths just hates you. The question in my mind is not that whether that was correct play, but whether you had to go for that. Like, I feel that just Azadraking and then making a 10-10 or something was probably okay. But his play should have worked. I mean, missing all 3 of them is very, very, very unlikely. I'm just wondering if he needs to take any risks at all. And the coming turns will show that. Like, if they still win this game anyway, then that play was absolutely fine. It's results orientated, but it means that he was comfortable enough that if he missed, he still had enough to win the game against Jiraxis.
It's suddenly going to be really hard for the Druid, though. The Arena Lock is in this amazing situation where he's got Jiraxis down. That's a free 6/6 every turn. And he hasn't yet played Kazakus. It's sitting there in the hand, meaning that if he wants to, he can gain armor, he can clear the board, he can do what he likes. Unfortunately for Swidz, these Jade Golems are still huge and therefore a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, and I think that this turn alone has justified his previous play. His previous play was going to work, like I say, a huge percentage of the time. And this is the play where it didn't work. You make a 4-4 and a 9-9. I'm good with that being the right play. If this is your bad turn, then I'm absolutely fine with the maths play that he made.
Now, Bran and Kazakus seems just a little bit too slow. What does he... Unless he wants to freeze the board, like take a 1 mana potion, freeze the 9/9 somehow, and then take a 10 mana as well. I don't know, it's quite awkward. Let's see what he takes here.
He may take a 1 just for the armor.
I think he has to take a 1, yeah. So what else does he play this turn? Argus, I guess. Oh, he's gone 5.
How do you win this game?
I guess dealing 4 damage to all minions is a start, but you can only do that so many times.
Does that even do anything? Does 4 damage to all minions actually do anything?
If he gets 2 of them and plays them both together, it's 8 damage to all minions, which still isn't enough.
Tickle your opponent's Jade Golems.
This was a terrible potion.
Yeah, this is not a good potion at all.
So yeah, it is Argus. And at least he gets the double buff with Brown. That's something.
A lot of damage to face happening here. Deal 5 damage is one of those potions.
Drake Swipe is deal 6 damage to 1 minion and deal 3 to all of the others. This is almost lethal now.
It is. There is lethal possibly back the other way in some situations. Scruffy just going to have to keep an eye on his opposing minions. But he's got it all under control, I think.
Wait, this is lethal, actually. He just doesn't
It's
need to
lethal?
the Drake. Okay.
There you go.
It's this night.
It's lethal by the casters, but eSuba win again over Team Kraken. The brackets have been shuffled up slightly. They will play Luminosity, Zalay's team, tomorrow, who we saw earlier. And the other match will be Fade to Karma versus Team Liquid. So, 4 teams left, 3 prizes to be handed out. Dan, who's going to take it all?
Well, I'm going to say to you what I said to Noxious, that I am still very good friends with the Fade to Karma players, given that I was on the team previously myself, and I am very loyal. So I'm 100% with Fade to Karma. I love the other teams as well, but I've got to stick by my old teammates.
Impressive there from eSuba, just as we see it on the screen. That's 6-2. Not blanking you, Dan. Fade to Karma.
How about you, Neil? Who do you think is going to take it?
I think that Luminosity, just through their communication and strength in depth, will take it down. But I'd like to see eSuba do well here. I think that they're 3 players that definitely could do with a little bit more recognition for how much time they put into this game. You don't just deserve recognition through time put in, but these are guys that they don't just put in the time. They do get consistently good results without getting that little spike that you need to suddenly make you well known. If you put in consistently good results and suddenly win a tournament, you'd have the same win rate as somebody who's done top 16s, top 25s, and you've never heard of. And I feel that this team have players in that category. So it'd be interesting to see tomorrow.
I do love these tournaments that have like invites, but then one qualifier or two qualifiers in this case, because it really does give these players an opportunity now. Like, okay, look, you're on a stream, you're going to have around 10,000 people watching. Now go and beat, Luminosity, go and beat Fate to Come, go and beat these teams that are much more well known than you are and get some attention.
Yeah,
I just think it's a great opportunity.
And again, I'd like to just stress they've come through a 48-team qualifier to get to this spot in the first place. So these guys have done a lot of hard work to get into this spot.
I think we're just finding out now if we have an interview ready.
So we're hoping to have Faeli on in a moment, just setting that up for everybody. Interesting to see what he's got to say about that, because they've just beaten the same team twice.
Yeah, can't feel good for Team Kraken, GameKing Swidz, and Yogg. Unfortunately, we have seen the last of them, as with Tempo Storm and Complexity. But yeah, we're about to interview Faeli. We're just waiting for him to join our conversation. And
so tell you a little bit about this team. Faeli's been on eSuba, in his own words, like forever. Whereas the other two guys, Scruffy and Jarla, they joined in about September last year. So the team is still expanding by the look of it. They've added these two guys to their ranks. It's always good to see a team get rewarded for adding more players into their fold. But yeah, Faeli has been a member of this team for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels about the fact they're going so well as well. Like as going forward.
Yeah, we're going to need to find out a little bit from him about how the rest of the games went, as we only saw Scruffy playing, actually. I think we have him here. Faeli,
we can hear you. Okay, we need Faeli to speak. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Faeli. Speak to us. The stream wants to hear your voice.
Rip.
Nope.
Joys of a live production, ladies and gentlemen. Never work with your children, animals, or casters.
Modern technology. I don't know if you can hear the production person that's speaking to us, but they can't.
We're hearing voices. So if it sounds like we're talking to ourselves, well, 13
right.
hours, bear with us.
Faeli, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Excellent. Congratulations. You need to tell us a little bit about what we missed, because we missed the first 6 games. So what did we miss, in short?
So the first game, we started with the Reno Mage against Druid. So that was pretty unfortunate for us, but we managed to win. There was a crazy value from Burglit Bully. We got like 8 coins and pretty much snowballed the game. Then they evened up. Then we went to 1. Then they evened up, and then we went for 2. I don't remember the exact order of the matchups, but we went pretty good with the Druid. We went 4-0 in the end, I think.
Yeah, and you beat these guys last week as well, right? How nerve-wracking was that? We thought it was a team qualifier. How nerve-wracking was that whole 48-team qualifier last week?
Yeah, the qualifier was very, very hard. We actually had the toughest round in the semifinals, where we faced 3 guys. I don't know which ones. There was Mitsuhide, I remember, because I know him personally.
Was one, I believe.
And that was 5-3 for them, so we had to come back, but we did it. And then we started the finals 3-0 with the Murloc Paladin, so that went pretty okay for us.
Cool. And the 3 of you guys have played around Europe in particular for quite a long time now. How do you feel to have the team coming together? Obviously, with Scruffy and Jarla joining eSuba like a few months ago. Is the team going good places now, whatever happens here?
Yeah, the team is working pretty much well, I think. These 2 guys that are playing with me are there for like 4 months, so they are quite new players here, but they're veterans of the Czech scene, so I know them very well. And this is actually almost the whole roster of the eSuba team. We also have one more player. He's called Echo, and that's it.
Cool. So you've got a reserve, which is nice.
You guys are certainly proving that you're one to watch, but tomorrow is the big test. As first off, I think it was Luminosity you're against tomorrow first now. And then hopefully you'll get through to the grand final. So good luck for that. Get some rest tonight. It's a huge day tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And we are now finished for the night. So we are coming back same time tomorrow for firstly Luminosity versus no, that's not right. That was before it got modeled up. I'm getting confused.
It's going to be Liquid versus F2K first.
Liquid versus Fate to Karma and Luminosity versus eSuba. Am I okay to wrap up production? Yep. Are you good to finish? Okay, cool. Thank you so much for watching. Me and Lorinda will both be back, as will Noxious, tomorrow for a really exciting final day